Hello and welcome back to the Weirdly Obsessed podcast with your hosts Mandy, Martino, and Lisa Wallen. Today's uncommon interest is body modifications.
We talk about OCD, BDD, do a little rap. Tattoos, mutilations, scarifications, plastic surgery, all the shit that people do to change their bodies, and when it is good and when it is bad. And then we also see some weird stuff on Reddit. So maybe a little bit of a content warning for this episode. But either way, it's another spicy one. And if you guys enjoy it, please like, share, rate, and subscribe to our Patreon, which we will be using here in the next few weeks. And I hope you enjoy today's episode.
Enjoy!
So I got to pretend that I didn't open up my drink already.
We're naturally opening our drinks. 1, 2, 3.
Yay!
Yay!
I'm playing a game right now where like a lot of the characters are Irish and Scottish and British, and so I just been talking like this. What?
How is your Irish accent? I feel like that one's a little bit harder.
Terrible. So I just go sha 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 sha.
I took an accent class once at Second City, and I didn't really learn anything, but the teacher was good at accents.
I took a voice. It was like it was a voice acting class in college, and they taught you about the history of accents. And I didn't know why people from Minnesota, they have such tiny little voices, is because it's such a cold climate that before civilization, I guess, or whatever, they had to talk like very quiet because their cheeks would freeze, and that's why their accents are so like.
That's so weird.
I'm from Minnesota.
I'm freezing my ass
No,
off.
I was like, that's hilarious, but also makes sense. And then we talked about Seattle accents. We're just boring. That's what we found out. The history of Seattle is it's just a very boring place, and it rains a lot, so everyone just sounds depressed.
What a random class.
Yeah, I mean, it was a film class, so we learned about all the aspects of filming and acting, and then voices and accents was one of the things that I learned, and I was like, interesting. Why are we learning about Minnesota accents? We were learning about all the different like UK accents, because I didn't know there was like 1,000 English accents.
So many.
And I'm like, they all sound slightly Australian to me. So there you go. But anyways, good time.
Yes. We have to catch up. I've been gone.
Yeah.
So
you were in Florida. You were home.
I was home. It was so much fun. We did a bunch of shows. We were in Naples, which was like a show for all old people.
Naples sounds like a place old people live.
I was so nervous. I usually don't get nervous before shows, but I was nervous because I was like, I don't know if these old people are gonna like my material at all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Florida old people are like their own specific breed of old people.
Which is I think it's a better breed of old people because they're there because they want to have fun.
Oh,
so it ended up being okay.
And they were like, what is a pussy? I don't know what that means.
No way. They're just wasted and like on Viagra. They're good.
I love that. Well, welcome. Should we do the intro? Should we say the welcome back to so we can just get into the catch up part?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. Grab our drinks and go, welcome back to the
Weirdly Obsessed podcast
with Mandy and Lisa.
Here we are. We're
back.
That is her Irish accent. She's nailing it.
It is my Irish. I love that you can just be kind of racist towards white accents. Like that's how the world revolves now.
Yeah. You can do Italian. Italian's still safe. There's a few you can still do.
Okay, but I have to say this one thing though, because there is a billboard in the valley. They might have it here where you live, but it's a Vietnamese lawyer. Her name's Anne Frong.
I've not seen
and
this.
Her motto just says something wrong.
What?
With a question mark. And I can't not say it like something wrong. Call Anne Frong. Every time I drive by it, it's just something wrong. Call Anne Frong.
She must have said it. She knows
on purpose.
She has to know.
But I just love the slogan. Something wrong. Call this injury lawyer. No, yes, I'm having a bad day, Anne Fong. Okay, my back hurts, my neck hurts, blah blah. Oh, something wrong, and I can't not do it. So apologize to Anne Fong out there, but you know what? I kind of think that she did. Yeah, she did.
She definitely did on purpose.
Something wrong is too silly. I can't just not say it like that.
It sounds like something like if you had like a little 3-year-old, they would say to you, "Something wrong?
Something wrong? Call your injury lawyer." Oh, you're sad? Call Anne Fong.
I want to call her.
I just want to call her and tell her how my day is. She'll be like, "Oh, something not wrong then."
Like, why did you say to call you if you didn't want to talk to me?
Oh my God, there was one the other day where Elmo. Did you hear about the Elmo thing? Elmo posted on
the Elmo. He
posted on Twitter. How's everyone's day going? Everyone trauma dumped on him. Everyone did, to the point where Sesame Street had to like put like a PSA out there, like, if you're having a bad day, you know, it's okay to talk to somebody. And then all like the Sesame Street characters, who's the one? I think it was like
Big Bird,
Grover. I don't know
which one was Grover.
I don't know who Grover is. Start with this. Some cranky one was like, "Oh, I'm not really good at dealing with people's stress, but my pet worm is." And it's like, you're basically trauma dumping on this poor social media person. They'd be like, "We have to say something about this. Everyone's having a bad day."
Oh my God.
Elmo opened up a can of worms on the internet with that. All he said was, "How's everyone's day going?"
Oh my God, I want to read these.
It was pretty funny.
Oh, was the one you were talking about, the guy that's in the trash can? Mm-hmm. That was.
Is it Oscar? Is the Grouch? Grover?
Is
whatever.
that what it is?
I don't know.
That's too funny. How weird.
I haven't seen a Muppet show or anything or Sesame Streets in years. It's what I grew up on though. But it was just very funny to see Elmo just be like, "Oh no, I did something really bad by asking." He says something wrong. That's what Elmo said. He said something wrong.
It's like when you ask somebody, "How are you doing?" and they just say great and leave. Like, we didn't really
I told my friend this, like, I had a friend text me today that they're having a bad mental health day, and I tell them, I do care, but if you know that I don't want to hear about it, I'll just be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that." Mm-hmm. Instead of being like, "Do you need to talk about it?" I'll just be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to do that. You know what helps me is this." And I'll just give you a solution, because that tells me I cannot be there for you right now. Because some people, they just be like, people need to have trigger warnings when they text you about their bad days. They can't just throw dialogue at you and expect a return. Don't even do that and be like, "Text me whenever." No, I have to read all this. I have to prepare. Like, I'll just be like, "We'll talk later." Like, that's, yeah.
I think that's a nice response if you don't have time for it. A solution. Yeah. And they can call someone else if they don't like that solution.
Like, "I don't like how you try to help me in a safe way. I'm going to call someone else." But anyway, so you went to Florida.
I went to Florida. I did a bunch of shows. I'm exhausted, but it was so much fun. It's so nice to do like that many shows in a row, because you could actually like make progress with your jokes.
So when you go to different parts of Florida, is it different kind of cultures in those parts of Florida?
They usually are, but it seems like the places that we went. So we went to Naples and then to Boca, so it's 2 hours, and then up to Tampa, which is 4 hours. So it's really like.
And you drove?
Yeah, all over the map.
And it was just you two?
And then another friend. So it was a fun trip, though. But the drive wasn't that bad, says the person who didn't drive.
The drive was fun. I slept. But you had to stop so many times to pee.
Oh, my God. I didn't do too bad with the peeing. But we had a few moments where it was close. We pulled into a rest stop, and I was, like, about to piss myself, and it was closed. No. I didn't.
Did you pee outside?
I almost did. I made it to the next exit, but it was like, come on, man. Don't close a rest stop.
More like unrest stop.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that's awesome. I would love to. I've only gone to Florida once to get this tattoo. And I stayed in Orlando, but I stayed on like a really shitty street. And I stayed in a hostel, because it's like, I've done hostels before, they're cheap. But
I would not do a Florida hostel.
Yeah, Florida hostel is a halfway house. I don't know if you knew that. It was not comfortable, actually. Instead, I just played my Switch until 5 a.m. to make sure there was no one around me, and then I got up and left. I was this is not. But it was $8. So, I got my $8 worth. I got to lay on a mat. And then my back has hurt for 2 years now. So it's been great. I also had a very unhinged I mean, I'm not as you obviously Florida's just unhinged as a country, but I had an unhinged as
It's a country.
It's its own place.
Yeah, people don't want to make it a part of the USA.
Yeah, it's its own unhinged. You escaped. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I had an unhinged comedy show 2 weeks ago, actually, with your friend.
Oh yeah, I want to hear about this.
Your friend that you went with to Florida. We met for the first time. We had a show. I guess when this comes out was 2 weeks ago. But this company reached out and they were like, we would love to have comedy at our event. It's like a weed event. And I was like, I've done these. Like, I've done shows where I've gotten high. I've done shows at like weed conventions. It's fine, right? And they were like, gave us a pretty good payment for how much time we're doing. It was like perfect. What I didn't realize is that it wasn't weed. It was dabs, which I don't know if you know what dabbing is. It's like weed crack.
Yes, it is weed crack.
It's weed meth.
I've never done one because I will die.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, okay, if you're going to have people dabbing, then we'll do the comedy first and then they have the event. No, they started the event at 4 p.m. and they had the comics roll in at 8 p.m. And when we showed up, it was a shit show. It was like I got secondhand high just like being in there. No one's paying attention. People are falling asleep. People are just shoving sandwiches in their mouth. And the music was so loud. And we showed up and the highest dude I've ever seen in my life was like, who are you guys? I'm like, we're the comics. He goes, okay. And he just turns off the music, just violently turns off the music and goes, hey guys, we're gonna have a comedy here in like a second. And I was like, no, no one's listening.
No.
You gotta give him like 10 minutes. He goes, 10 minutes, and just walks away and
What?
no one responds. It's like, buddy, you have to like get the people to know. You gotta get them like going.
Yeah, make it a vibe, make them excited.
And I was like, who's hosting a show? He goes, me. I was like, oh fuck,
Not
this
that
guy does not do comedy. And so he goes up and I was like, you got to get the crowd going. He goes, okay. And he goes up and he goes, you guys ready for comedy? No one says anything. He goes, all right, we're going to bring up your first comic. What's your name?
Were you first?
Yeah.
No.
He's like, Laura? I was like, Lisa Wallen. He goes, we're bringing up Lisa Wallen. And I just had to take the bullet. And
Holy shit.
I get up. No one's paying attention. For about 2 minutes, I was like, no, what do you want? Q&A, ask me a question. And one's like, take a dab. And then everyone's just like, dab, 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 dab. And I was like, fuck it. So I took a dab. And then for the rest of my set, it was just people asking me what video games I like. And then it was all the other comics on the show just like they hated it. Like nobody told jokes.
It sounds like you couldn't have.
One comic tried to go up and tell jokes and she's extremely funny. And I was just like, stop. No one's paying attention, but he paid us. And then I think he was so high, he counted the money in front of me. And I got home, I had $40 more. So
hell yeah.
Honestly, it was a successful night. There was a couple comics on the show who was like, fuck this, I'm never doing this shit again. Actually, your buddy was like that. And I was like, dude,
take the money and leave.
Also, none of these people are heckling.
Yeah,
like you could literally just yell into a mic for 10 minutes and like during a set he'd be like, all right, I got 7 minutes left. 7 minutes left. And it's like, just go around no one gave a fuck.
Yeah.
But anyways, wow, what a great intro.
Oh yeah, I've done weed shows and they're always hard. I've never done one where they're dabbing. I could only imagine.
Everyone was on crack. But like mellow crack, like no one even knew what was going on. I got hit on so much though.
But if the same person keeps hitting on you and forgetting that
just
they're hitting on you.
A lot of parachute pants, a lot of juggalos. It was amazing.
All right.
And one of the comics said it looked like the January 6th conference meeting. Like it was just because it was just like a bunch of like really gross white dudes. And those are the type that love me.
Perfect.
So,
your favorite.
Great. Anyways, we got another spicy topic for everyone today.
It's so spicy that I feel disturbed.
Oh, not from last week's bird fucking?
This one? This one surprisingly is more disturbing to me.
What's the uncommon interest today?
Body modifications.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which, we'll get in the definition, which can be as simple as like, getting some plastic surgery, getting some tattooing, but
piercings.
Because this podcast is revolved around people who obsess about these things, it takes it way farther than our eyes want to see.
Yeah.
Basically.
Way more than a nose ring or earring. More like cut off the nose and cut off the ear. And that's not an exaggeration.
And then turn it into its own earring. Just wear your nose.
No, I'm
so anyways, content warning for anyone who is sensitive to stuff. Though I don't think talking about it is as bad as seeing it.
I agree.
Because let's get into the definition really of what today is, because there is a lot to unpack here. And I also wanted to do this topic because, you know, I have my own OCD with it, which honestly, one of the definitions we had was the OCD versus BDD, but BDD, which is body dysmorphia disorder, is a huge part of having OCD. And so I see you got your definition up here.
A lot of people were online. I don't think that this is like a normal.
A lot of people were online should be the slogan of our podcast.
A lot of people online were saying that it's not OCD. But then when you go to like legit articles, it is OCD.
It is. You can have BDD with OCD, but some people
get the OCD with the BDD.
It's a Sesame Street rap, actually. It's a kid's bop. Because body dysmorphia is a big part of OCD, but body dysmorphia disorder is so beyond that, because it's the same thing with when we talk about like an obsession versus an addiction. Is that I think everyone has a little bit of body dysmorphia. Yeah. I think everyone does, because that's how we were raised to hate ourselves. That's why we take care of ourselves now. But I think having body dysmorphia disorder goes into more of like a delusion of it. Yeah, which we'll discuss.
So let's see. It says someone with BDD suffers from an intense fixation on a perceived physical defect. The behaviors are done in an effort to manage the perceived defect. How do I say defect like that? Defect.
A defect.
Someone with OCD, on the other hand, battles with disturbing and intrusive obsessions that can be based on a variety of different content matters. This results in ritualistic behaviors to soothe the anxiety and uncertainty created by the obsessions. So it's like OCD, obsessions cover a wide variety of content matter. BDD, obsessions about one's body and body image. And then it's like the similarities are the unwanted intrusive thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, my whole life is an intrusive thought, but yes.
She had a good podcast name idea called
Intrusive Thoughts with THOTS. I feel like that's still... Why is it I can't think of a goddamn good Instagram name? I have Wisa Wallen, but I can come up with Intrusive Thoughts. Intrusive hoe over there. But yeah, like my OCD started with body dysmorphia. And that was mainly because growing up, I was bullied a lot by dudes. Like... because they used to call me Lisa Love Handles, which is so fucked up.
It's so fucked up.
It is, because I was pretty tall growing up, but I was very like slender. Like I'm pretty slender naturally, but you know, I'm getting soft in my older years. But I was like a stick, but I always had very wide hips. And since, you know, mom in high waist jeans didn't come back out until 2015. Thank you, fashion. I was stuck with low rise. And so I always had muffin top, and everyone made fun of me, and I had no boobs. I had no curves, no ass. It was just Lisa Love Handles. And that was my nickname from like 15 to when I was 18.
That's so incredibly fucked up.
Yeah. And so I would always focus on this part of my body. I always wore really loose clothes. Like you would not see, I wear crop tops now. You would not see this shit back then. But like that obviously morphed into more of a mental illness in me. But I've always had struggles with other things in my life, like my cleansiness and my organizations and my need for structure. But the body dysmorphia was the thing that got me to start, you know, doing things like drugs and blah, blah. It's just I had such bad self-image of myself that I was like, I had to medicate, and then eventually went to therapy, got diagnosed, and then I got my boobs done. My life changed. It was the most amazing thing ever.
Boobs.
You know? But yeah, but like the BDD part, I mean, like I don't have enough education on that whatsoever, but I can just see from looking online how it's like you'll see people who they obsess over their weight to a point where it's like you have eating disorders, you know, or when people get excess plastic surgery and to the point where they're not even recognized as a person. And it's like, that's the part to me where it's like, I can't tell if this is you just having a mental disorder or if this is actually your BDD. You know what I mean?
A lot of people I watch stories about on YouTube said that they ended up getting these things because like as a way to say like you can't tell me what to do, or like after something bad trauma happened, and then like I'm gonna do what I want. This is gonna make me feel better. And then it was so funny. Like after each person, they were like, and you can find them on OnlyFans.
I mean, honestly, like I'm a very curious person. Like there used to be when I got into tattooing and whatnot, I used to follow like all these accounts, and this is before the algorithm fed you all this shit. But this is like MySpace days, Facebook days. I used to follow this couple that was in a body mutilation,
like cutting off.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you
like,
gonna vomit over it?
But they would do these things, and I still don't know how they do them, where they would get things in like put into their bodies to make it look like they have spikes and stuff like on their so you're like stop. This whole episode is just so much. But it was fascinating to me. It didn't really gross me. It was just fascinating to me that people would get this stuff done, you know, or like they would remove their private parts because they wanted to be private partless. I don't know.
I didn't see that one. Like zero.
Yeah, they like got their things removed. They got their nipples removed. And then out of curiosity, I went back to see like an update on them a few years ago. And what do you know? Both of them had to get surgery to get things removed and put back, and went through series and series of medical health problems, all stuff.
That's one thing that was confusing about a lot of these modifications is that people are debilitating themselves and like in ways like that will affect your living.
Yeah.
Like drastically.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it's like do you have any tattoos? Look at you.
No, I want to get one. I can't think of any.
Just get your name tattooed right here. No, you're.
Then what if I change my name?
That's the problem too. Like my tattoos are definitely a result of OCD. I just found out my tattoo artist that I got here is moving in May to Texas, and I'm like, I don't have money, but can I get tattooed by you before I leave? Like before you leave, I have to spend another.
Wait, the new tattoo person you found?
I know, I'm so sad.
No way.
But like, yeah, when I first started getting tattoos, I just had one here, and then I just kept going and kept going, and even now I'm like, I want all this covered up. I want my arms to have no gap, and like. When I see that, I'm like, it's fine. It's whatever. But when people look at me, they're like, you have so many tattoos. I'm like, it's not even that much. I feel like I don't even look that heavily tattooed.
You look no, because they're so clean looking. You know?
I feel like that's why I wanted it, because I've seen people who get like the blackout tattoos and stuff, and I'm like, that's a little much for me. But I also am like, I'm really not one to talk. I remember I told myself when I get tattoos, I would say no neck and no hands, because I was like, what if I want to get a real job?
Hands tatted.
Never getting a real job. But a lot of this is like, a lot of it was body dysmorphia, because remember I told you on last podcast, it's so funny, my memory is fresh on our podcast because I re-listen to the episodes every week. But last week I told you that I cover scars on my legs. Yeah. I covered scars on my legs with this tattoo. I bruise really easily. If I get a scar, it just never goes away. Like, I want to show you guys right now.
Oh, yeah.
I have...
sexy socks.
I have
you guys have to pay extra for this.
Yeah.
This video, Lisa.
A goose bit me here when I was a kid.
A goose?
A goose
what?
Did, and it never healed.
Why were you hanging out with a goose?
I was beating them and one chased me, but I have scars from when I was a little kid all over my legs.
I have scars all over my knees from I used to rollerblade and I'd just eat shit and just like my knees are just covered in scars.
Quick poll, what's nerdier? You rollerblading or you feeding geese? Okay.
Comment below.
I've seen people get tattoos to cover up like weight loss, like when they lose weight, like the what's the word, stretch marks. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
like a lot of people get tattoos over their stretch marks from losing weight.
My mom got a giant tattoo to cover up her C-section.
Yeah, a lot of people do that because it's I feel like a cheaper version than getting surgery, and also you know what you're gonna get and you know it's gonna look fucking badass, so you get it done. And like those are things that I'm like, oh yeah, like I can see that. But then there's people who just, like you said, just keep going
Yeah.
and going and going.
I feel like my anxiety has made me go the opposite route to where like I don't like change. Like I've never dyed my hair. My hair's been the same length.
You're
I
just
don't
a
have
virgin
any tattoos.
hair. Oh my God. Can I touch it?
Yeah.
I've never touched virgin. I dyed my hair this morning. I dyed my hair at 10 a.m. today. And you're like, I've never dyed my hair. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Once I got some highlights and I literally had a panic attack after. And I went to the gym and I was just listening to screamo music and lifting heavy weights and be like, what did I do? Like full on like.
Because you're beautiful just as you are.
Thank you. With this angle, not with that angle.
That's why we have the cameras like this.
But yeah, I panic when there's change. And I've gotten better as I've gotten older, but like I used to hate change so much because it was like I need the order that I'm used to.
That's so funny. I'm such the opposite physically. Mentally, like my everything, I'm very routine. Mm-hmm. Like when we're recording this podcast, I know exactly to bring the SD cards every week because I embedded it into my brain. That's part of my routine. But with my body, I get bored of how I look all the time. Constantly need to change my hair. Constantly need to change the type of jewelry I wear. My fashion. I am just a nightmare. Every month I'm a different person, and I do not care. It's who I am.
Well, I think that's part of like what these people are going through, but to the extreme of like always bored. They always want more.
Or people who tattoo themselves look like cats. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have seen that. I remember Cat Lady like as like a scarring thing I saw when I was younger.
Yeah. And it's like sometimes you're like, this is who I am. I'm just it's like a furry but extreme. I actually am a cat now.
Yeah, commitment.
That's crazy to me. I've seen people like get elf ear surgery, which I actually think is really cute.
That is kind of cute.
I was like, I kind of want elf ear surgery. I wouldn't do it, but yeah, and it's crazy to me because it's like they're going to the extreme where it's like they're a completely different person. Mm. Like it's like this person obviously was not a cat lady growing up. They were just a normal lady, and then one day like I'm gonna get cat tattoos and just keep going. And now I'm scared. I'm just gonna become like a walking video game guide. By the end of my life.
You're gonna start walking like this.
I am. I'm just gonna get a cartridge installed in my forehead. It's fine. Hey, I love all my tattoos, but a lot of people always say things like you're gonna regret them when you get older, and honestly, I don't even notice mine at all. Ever. The only ones I notice now are my back tattoos because they're so new and it's everywhere. But like
it's everywhere.
Like when I first moved here and I'd see people on the street with their tattoos out because I lived in Washington, everyone wore long sleeve. I'm like, oh my God. They have so many tattoos. I went on a date with someone recently. There's a lot of tattoos. I'm like, oh my God, he's so tatted up. And I was like, wait, I have more tattoos than he does. And I'm like, I wonder is that the same for people who are into extreme tattooing? Do they just not notice it?
Maybe.
I wonder if that's it. Like, and that's what that scares me is that I'm going to get to the point where I get too comfortable and I just keep getting more and more and more. But I cut off my boundaries, nothing between the neck and the pussy. That is my boundary.
Great boundaries.
Because the tits are amazing. I'm never going to tattoo them.
Yeah, let the tits. They're
great, right?
Yeah,
but like, yeah, but that's the thing is so when I see people getting extreme tattoos, like when they're getting tattoos all over their faces or when they're tattooing their eyes, you've seen the eyeball tattoos.
They said the one lady tattooed her eyes blue and that she wasn't able to see for weeks after, and it could cause blindness later on in life.
Why then? Right?
Wild.
The worst thing that will do is that maybe I'll look like a raisin when I get older. But it's like I'm gonna look like shit anyways when I'm 90. I'm not gonna care what my tattoos look like.
I think you're gonna look like a badass. When you see like old people who are covered like with sleeves, I think they look cool as fuck.
Yeah, but I have faces on mine. This is gonna be like an old lady.
You'll age together.
I'll have I'll have all these old men tattooed on me. But yeah, plastic surgery. Let's get into plastic surgery stuff, shall we?
That is one of like, I think, I don't know. Well, I mean, compared to what I've seen on Reddit, I feel like plastic surgery is way more basic of a modification. But there are the people who do like the giant boobs.
Just like me, just massive knockers.
Like, have you seen the ones that are like...
They look painful.
I don't know how the skin stretches. Do they have to just do like gauges where they just slowly get bigger tits at a time? So I have
a OnlyFans friend girl that wanted porn star looking boobs. Like, that was her goal. And so she had to get them done normally, wait months, and then get them done. So you have to get your boobs done multiple times. So it's extremely expensive.
I'm sure.
Because like I think my surgery was like $8,700. And I was like, imagine that times like 3 just for them to look fucking terrifying.
And to put you under. That's very dangerous to do that often too, you'd think.
Because you're on anesthesia. Like you're not awake for that. And the procedure is only like a half hour long, but it's like the recovery is like fucking 3 weeks. It's And she was like, I had to get my boobs done 3 times to get them to this size. I'm like, they just look painful to me. Like, ooh.
Do you know what size she got, or is it not even a size?
I think it goes by like CCs. Mine was like 350. Hers was like 800 or some shit. And it's like, she's like a fucking, I don't know, size M. I don't know. But it just looks to me like she loves them. And I'm good for you. I'm glad that you love them. But as an outsider, I'm like, ooh. Like they're great, but they're huge and she's tiny. And so it's like,
yeah, that's when it like starts messing with your back and stuff. Also the new like booty surgeries, the ass implants.
BBLs.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah. And that fascinates me because we still put like the Kardashians on this pedestal of women with incredible bodies as if they aren't full of these surgeries. Literally nothing about I'm not hating on them, but nothing about those women are physically real.
Yeah, it's all fake.
And the scary thing about like BBLs and like butt implants and butt lifts and stuff is that those surgeries are so trendy and new that people don't really realize the repercussions it has on your body and how often you have to get it done. Like an implant now has gone through so many years of research and procedures that now you can get to the point where you can get implants and not ever have to change them.
Like it used to be every 10 years.
Yeah, and now it's like you can have yours forever. Like an IUD.
Wow.
You know, you can just keep it in there and then one day it'll just fall out. But
that'd be so scary.
Yeah, but BBLs, you have to keep getting them done.
I didn't know that. I just knew that it's one of the most dangerous surgeries. Probably because you're sitting on it all the time. At least your tits, the only time you'd lay on them is if you sleep on your stomach.
You know, and then if I get bored, I can just pop them if I wanted. I'm just kidding. But like there's a girl I know who got a BBL and she had to sue her doctor because he didn't do anything to her. He just caused her to have a bunch of chunky cellulite.
Oh no.
And she couldn't sue him because it's in the thing saying that your body may not accept the fat in transplants it has. And also the follow-up parts of the surgery, like, oh my God, I know I'm going to talk so much during this podcast.
No, I'm learning a lot. We're all learning a lot.
Like when I got my boobs done, you know, I was telling him like I wanted to go through my doctor because his surgery looked so real, like looked really natural. And he goes, well, you know, the surgery part is very easy. It's only like a half hour. You just put you down. They literally slice you open, shove in the implant,
slice you open.
No. It's the recovery part because your body has to adapt to it. And so many people would get breast implants and then wear like a bikini the next day, like excited. But it's like your body has to get used to it. So I had to like wear like this wired bra for like 3 months.
We said they formed, like they changed shape. Like, right?
They changed shape like 4 times. They shape shifted. So many times. They were a different shape like a year later after like 6 months. And so a lot of people, they would just start to migrate. And that's why they get like that weird like circle because they wouldn't let their boobs heal. And same thing with BBLs. It's like you have to let your body absorb it. And of course, the Kardashians and everyone in Hollywood goes to like the best doctors ever and they can afford getting it done every 10 months. But it's like you have to get it done every year in order to keep that.
No way. That often?
Yeah, unless you work out a lot or you're just lucky. But it's like it's like Botox. Like it wears off and you have to get it redone, you know?
Start dating someone, be like, yeah, man, she's got the sickest ass. And then it just starts moving into a weird face.
Yeah, and like so many people get it done, they don't exercise, so their body doesn't handle the shape. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's something. And then you see like people get addicted to getting their lips done. It's just it's anything you get, you just want more and more and more and more.
And yeah, and there's some cases where I'm like, this is really good. Like I mentioned before we recorded, a gender affirming surgery. because that's a big thing right now because of everyone being like, I don't think trans people should exist. And I'm like, well, you're a terrible person. But like somebody getting breast implants, like I got breast implants. I said that it was gender affirming surgery. And they're like, no, it's not because you're a woman. I was like, but I got breast implants because I didn't feel feminine enough. I struggled with being in touch with my woman side. So yes, the minute I got them done, I wore crop tops and dressed like a horse. So yes, it was very gender affirming surgery. And like they could not comprehend that in their head, how that's the same as like a trans person getting breast implants or getting a gender change or sex change, because I'm like, it is. It's exactly if you are trying to be more in tune with like your masculine feminine side and you get surgery to affirm that, that is affirming that side of your gender.
I completely agree.
And so like in those cases, I can understand people like getting drastic changes done on their body, like, you know, like rhinoplasty and even sometimes BBLs and whatnot, because they want to feel more like feminine or more masculine. But again, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, are you trying to affirm your gender or are you trying to be a cat?
But then I'm like, are these people, like some of them, do they feel like they are a cat? I think a lot of them, like she identifies as a cat.
Yeah, which is like so funny because I feel like ever since people started saying the I identify thing, it had just opened up a can of worms of the worst humor in the world. Of people like, I identify as an attack helicopter, blah, blah, blah. Like the same fucking joke over like the bottom level comedians ever. And then there's people who are like that one girl that was pretending to be black, Rachel Dolezal.
Yes.
Which is so funny because if you see any picture of her, I'm like, this is just a white bitch with a fro.
It does not look good.
Yeah. But like she like did a lot for like the black community. Like she got like high up into like this, I don't know what she was like the member of, but it was a big deal when they found out that she was a fucking blonde bitch.
They didn't know?
They didn't know until because it was because of her position that she had that they were like, we need to make sure this woman is who she is. And then she was like, but I identify as a black woman. I'm like, no, you don't. You're just, and then people are now using that. It goes, well, if someone can identify as this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, there's a difference. There's a huge difference. I mean, I know this is not what the episode is about, but it's like, she was like going to get her skin like darkened.
Yeah,
she was getting her
photos.
hair changed so that it'd be more like coarse, yeah, and more like, what's the term I'm looking for? You know exactly what I'm saying. But it's like, yeah, that's a person that needs to go to therapy is what it is. Like you can't identify as a different race or a different creature. But
there's a lot of the different creatures going on
yeah,
here.
there's that. I always like think of the It's Always Sunny. Did you watch It's Always Sunny, right?
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember which episode.
Dennis's ex-wife, she becomes a cat.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember that one.
Oh, well, I mean, she's no longer there in the show, but later on the season, she over time gets plastic surgery to make herself be more like a cat. Starts using a litter box. It's always fascinating. Are they using litter boxes? Like, I just...
Yeah, how, like, much are they committing to this?
Are they committed to the bit?
What are they eating? Are they eating cat food?
It is amazing what women can handle pain-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Like, getting an IUD is still the most painful thing I've ever gotten in my life. And then I'm like, I don't want to get that. It looks really bad. Like, getting a tattoo. But no, I know a bunch of people who got, like, scars done. I know someone who got branded.
I think I have met someone that got branded. I'm trying. It's like a memory in there.
Yeah. And it's like, that's the stuff where I'm like, that's cool that you did it. And like, when I was younger, I was like, I'd want to get it done. But I'm also like how you don't like changing your body is like, I don't want to feel lumps.
Yeah,
like my skin's very soft. Like I don't want to be rubbing my arm and be like, oh, it's a scar shaped as a cat face. Like I don't want to deal with that. I've also seen people get weird implants. Like a couple people I knew got their nose rings like gauged so that they were bigger.
What?
And in my head, I'm like, how do you not have boogers all the
everywhere?
Time? Like I look at the health.
That's what I'm saying.
What's the health? Like there's got to be some health issues with that, right?
Our bodies have formed this way because it's like you have eyelash, you go to dirt, nose like this. Yeah.
Or when they get the ones here, I've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Gauged ears. I never had my ears gauged, but I know a lot of people did. And And then as they got older, they take them out and now their ears are just dangly.
Yeah, my brother's ears are like that.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's why I never did it when I was younger. Because I was like, I'll get a tattoo that scars me forever, but getting my ears gauged? Absolutely not.
I made it to the tongue ring on my ears, and that's as far as I got.
Do you have any piercings? Just your ears?
I have a bunch of ear piercings. I have my tragus, my rook, and then 3 just like
You're
regular.
so cute. You're so adorable. We're like polar opposites. I barely have any ear piercings because my ears are so big. I used to have an industrial and I brushed it all the time. And
Ew,
I would,
just snag it.
Yeah.
I got my nose pierced and it kept getting snagged. And I was like, I can't do this.
I have it on both sides now because I like symmetry too much. I was just like, it has to be even, which is why like I'm so bugged that I have this open space on my arm. But here we are talking about people obsessed with stuff, and I'm like, I have to finish my tattoos. Blah blah blah.
It's fun. There's room for more still.
Yeah, but in the end, guys, before we get into the Reddit stuff, it's okay to get tattoos and plastic surgery and body modifications if it makes you feel good. But please, I hope you can understand when things start to become a little bit of a dysmorphia and a delusion versus something that's just fun.
Yeah.
Which is why Mandy's gonna remind me in 6 months when my whole face is tattooed that Lisa, I think you should calm down a little bit.
I just sent you the clip. No pussy to boobs, or whatever you said. Before the Reddit stuff, I wanted to read some of like the extreme ones. The one that popped up a lot was the forked tongue. Like the split tongue.
Yeah, and the funniest thing about looking this up on Reddit, so it's like when we go on Reddit, it's like Reddit is just a great place for all messes. It's like a mall of fucked up people. I love it. It's the online mall. The funniest thing about like when we looked up the fetishes and the kink stuff, a lot of it was people being like, hi, like I need some advice. Like I have a kink, or this thing turns me on. Like, how do you, it's a lot of people just kind of like reassuring that something isn't wrong with them. Or it's a lot of people having like really big open discussions about like deep traumatic things. And it was fascinating to me because like, yes, a lot of people have some weird fucking fetishes, but it was a lot of people just being like, I have this thing and I hope it doesn't make me feel bad. But then you go on the body mod Reddit and it's just like people just being openly insane. And everyone be like, yeah, man, cool. And I'm like, okay, yeah, please read before participating. And then you go in there and like scarification, piercings, unusual plastic surgery. And you're looking and you're like, oh, these people, oh, you guys, oh, you all are very supportive of this.
Yeah, they're there because they like it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So wait, I wanted to go these before the Reddit. So there's the forked tongue. Then there's Lizard Man, which has the forked tongue, but he's got a full face of, he made himself a lizard. Sharpened teeth, the tongue split.
He could be hot.
Implants. Lisa, you're not fucking a lizard.
I'm sure there's a lizard anime character out there I wanted to fuck.
The corset piercings. Those were big for a while. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
You ever think about getting that?
All the time. No, just kidding. No. I think I wrote down because, okay, so one way I control my OCD in sense is that I have to write everything down that I want to do. Like, because I was realizing my tattoos were going to the extreme, I guess, according to my mom, I wrote down all the things I will get done and then nothing else. Okay. And I always draw a line at the bottom so that I know that I'm not allowed to go beyond that. But I have added things on there over time. Mainly because of stream, like me losing a bet and being like, I'll get a dumb little tattoo. But I did tell myself never to go between here or between, I guess for people just listening, between my neck in the front and down to my vagina. Like that is always going to be, because I need some part that's still me. Mm-hmm. Legs, arms, back, those are good. Oh, also no feet, because feet is...
It's supposed to hurt too, right?
Oh yeah, feet are supposed to be the worst, which is so funny because I'm like, I don't know. I feel like the back's the worst, but anytime I've injured my foot, it's the most painful thing ever. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. I do the feet out. I do the pinch test.
Oh, that's a thing?
Yeah. So it's like if you pinch yourself on certain parts, and the things that hurt more is going to probably hurt more when you get tattooed.
Ooh.
Look at you.
I'm going to go pinch myself for no reason.
You should get a Florida tattooed on your neck. It'd be really awesome.
I mean, So
Get Florida implanted in your neck. That seems very Florida, actually.
Just looks like a penis.
I will say, I find it fascinating as someone who is, I know I make fun of Florida a lot, but for someone who is from Florida, you haven't seen fucked up people with weird body modifications. I feel like that's a place where you'd see it.
I mean, people just have toe rings and tans.
Toe rings and tans.
I feel like
that sounds like a place I'd go get a like tanning salon in the early 2000s. Toe rings and tans.
That's all Florida is. It's more just like beachy people than like tattooed people.
I get if people want to get like nose surgery or like lifts or like Botox and stuff, but like stretching your face holes, but like that. Like even like septum rings bug me. Like I can't do one. I put in a fake one. I was like, I just look like the Olympics sign because I just have like ring. Maybe put 2 more here. But it's just like putting holes in my face, like big holes. No.
Yeah, no holes.
Yeah, no holes.
And I wanted to read this story. This will be part of our deep dive. This was about the human Satan guy. So he's one of like the well-known, huge, like extreme body modification guys. And I didn't hear about this. I mean, I don't know why I would have, but he cut off his ears to celebrate the end of the COVID mask mandate. So it says a man known as Human Satan, due to his extreme body transformations, has removed his ears to mark the end of the COVID mask mandate. Brazilian Michael Ferro de Prado has undergone extensive body modifications over the years, tattoos, piercings, customized teeth to complete his devil-like image.
I gotta Google this guy.
So this is what he looks like, and those are his ears on that piece of paper. But if you cut off your ears and they're fully cut off and sewed together, can you not hear, right?
I mean, you can hear, but your ears are shaped to reflect certain sounds, like, and to protect your ears from getting gross. It's the same thing with nostrils. It's like you have nostril hairs to block, and your eyelashes. Did I ever tell you when I was 12 years old, I cut off my eyelashes?
No.
Yeah.
What?
Now I use Latisse and they're beautiful. Yeah, because I went through a huge tomboy phase. So I trimmed my eyelashes. Oh,
Holy
it was a
shit.
terrible idea. I mean, only the top ones, thank God. But like
the top are that's even worse.
I know, but I was again, not a good kid. Yeah, I trimmed them and then I'd wear black eyeliner. It was so gross. I don't know what I was doing. I also shaved off my eyebrows and drew them back on.
Oh my God.
I'm so glad I'm pretty now because I was not my junior high years. But yeah, I trimmed my eyelashes. I did it with my friend. And then for like 3 days, I had the most itchiest eyes ever because yes, your eyelashes protect you from getting dirt in your eyes. And I was always like this all the time because I didn't wear glasses back then. But they grew back pretty quickly, which is nice. Like people were like, no, they'll never grow back. I'm like,
oh my
God.
God.
They're fine now. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I did that. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like you have those there for a reason.
Yeah.
They're not for God didn't just make aesthetics,
Well, that's why. And then there's this other guy. There's the other popular one is known as Black Alien. He was saying that like restaurants are scared to serve him.
Of course.
Imagine being the waitress.
There's like a whole Grey's Anatomy episode of someone who had like their whole face tattooed and stuff and how they couldn't get a job. And it was like, I don't know if it was Grey's Anatomy, but he was like going in for something and he was talking about how it was hard for him to go out in public. And it's like, yeah, but people also love those reactions. Like, I love when people like see my tattoos and say stuff. Like it used to startle me, but now it's like, oh my God, I love your tattoos. I'm like, oh, thank you. It's like these people love to have shock value.
Which is, I mean, I would hope so. Like if you're doing this to yourself. So this guy, Black Alien, removed his ears, nostrils, and even a few fingers, sharpened his teeth, and dyed them purple.
At that point, it's like, buddy, are you just trying to see what doctor will, like, are you trolling doctors at this point?
And he's like, if I want to eat at a restaurant, sometimes the server says I can't eat on the terrace.
You have to eat in the cage in the back.
What? Also, I don't think a restaurant should be able to discriminate.
I mean, if I'd be like, what, motherfucker, what are you doing to yourself? Like, I don't know if I discriminate, but I'd definitely be like, can you eat normal food? You're a lizard, right? Do you just want lettuce?
Yeah,
and
what do
tomatoes
lizards
and some
eat?
bugs?
But how your nose? There was a lot of people that I saw that took their nose off.
All this stuff we're looking at is fucked up, but there's a big trend right now, which I totally forgot to bring up earlier, and I wrote it down on my phone, is rib removal.
Ooh.
That's a big trend.
Why?
Because if you Google rib removal and go to images, it just shows women with hourglass shapes. Like, because some people's ribs, they stick out like this, and you can get your 2 bottom ribs removed to maintain an hourglass shape. And I'm like, like this. Like, what, lady? What are you doing?
What does that do to you? Do you not need them?
Yeah, I guess apparently you can remove the bottom too, and it'll still they're basically just not protecting anything, which I find to be bullshit. But yeah, like women will remove their bottom 2 ribs so they can maintain like this dramatic hourglass shape. A lot of those corset wearing women, they'll do that. And in my head, the idea of removing a rib sounds like when I think of ribs, I think about eating them.
That's all I've been thinking about since you said ribs.
And so removing them from your body, I think about every time I've chewed meat off a rib bone. I'm like, that sounds like, who is going to do open chest surgery and remove your rib? But people do that. Like, and it's become a point where it's normalized.
I'm just picturing like a really sexy cow.
That's actually my OnlyFans name, is Sexy Cow. But it's like, because we now live in a society where we live in a society where people are more accepting of like plastic surgery, tattoos, and then like BBLs. Like, bitch, you're getting fat from your other parts of your body injected into your butt. We're just gonna sit here and pretend like that's normal. That's complete. Let's just worship the bodies of women with these gross cottage cheese butts full of like, again, like, I should not want to be body shaming what people do, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's so unsafe. And it's also a point where it's like, you're investing so much time and money into something that nobody has the money, like the Kardashians or whoever fucking celebrities that these done. But you're investing so much of your time and your money doing it. And all I can think about is, what happens when you decide to stop? Like, does your body return to normal? You know?
No, it doesn't. You can't just add stuff back. One of the guys
as I talk about this, I'm like looking at my tattoos, like, will your body return to normal? Have you ever stopped? Just kidding.
One of the guys who was like, I forgot which one, like the full like alien dudes or tatted like face guys, he said that he's getting his face tattoos removed because he feels bad when he like picks his daughter up from school and stuff. He's like, this was my choice, but now like my choices are reflecting my daughter's life.
That's why I said no face on my. I didn't actually. I said neck to vagina, but also face. Because I don't want kids, so it's I can. But yeah, it's like for me, it's like my tattoos and stuff. It's like those are decisions that I make, and if I've been judged in Japan when I went there, they do not like me.
You can't go to certain like spas or
things. I had to sneak in. I had to like put the sleeves over my hands. Like, can I get into a spa? Like, I had to hide how my body looked. A lot of places I went to a bar in Fukuoka, which is one of my favorite cities ever, and the bartender kept calling me mafia. He kept calling me mafia. What? And at first I thought he was joking, and then he kept like giving me like this weird like mean mug.
What?
I was like, this man does not like me.
Oh my God.
And so I thought, like, because I feel like I am like an attractive person, be fine. But no, like in places like Japan, they very much associate it with like criminals. And so I couldn't go to a lot of spas. I got stared on. I've been called mafia. I've had people not want to serve me. There was a bar in Kanazawa I wanted to get into when it was pouring down rain, and they wouldn't let me in, but they'll let in the other people. And I was like, okay, fine.
It's messed up.
It is. And it's like, so I kind of get that, but it's also, again, the difference between someone who does it as like, this is something I want to do versus someone who's like, their entire life is revolved around trying to make drastic changes to their body. And it's scary.
It is. If you guys want nightmares, like you said, you looked it up before going to bed last night, go on body modification Reddit and just...
Some of them are okay. Like some of them are just like, I got a new rib cage tattoo. Like I'm like, maybe I should have been posting my tattoos in there, because there's a lot of like tattoos or like people being like, rhinoplasty before. Is it rhinoplasty? Yeah, rhinoplasty before and after, which is nose surgery, or like breast implants before and after, or any gender affirming surgery, and like those stuff. I'm like, oh, that's really positive.
Yeah,
like,
I think I don't clump those really into body modifications as much. Well, the extreme ones, it's just like completely different.
I do get really sad when some people get rhinoplasty and they like lose their like ethnic noses.
When there's the cutest little, just a tiny, I've been like getting these weird plastic surgery things on my Instagram story, or something called a Barbie nose. Oh. And people will just have cute regular noses, or like just a little bit out, and they do this like button little like Barbie nose, but their noses are fine. That's another thing with like the lips. I'm like, these before lips are my dream lips.
Yeah,
like they have. You
and I have no lips, so we're like, please have any kind of lip. Yeah, like when people have like it was one of the Hadid sisters got it done. She said she regretted it because she lost like her ethnic nose, because
Bella Hadid.
Yeah, and it's like why does everyone want to look the same?
I don't know.
The buccal fat removal,
What's that?
Oh, you know what that is?
No.
So everyone's like, Margot Robbie did it, Miley Cyrus. It's where they remove the fat from their cheeks, so like,
oh,
they do like the cat face.
I noticed that Miley looks like that, but I didn't know that she did something.
Yeah, or they call it fox face surgery.
I know Bella did the fox where she pulls it up like that.
Yeah, and to me it's like everyone is morphing into that person now. But again, like the buccal fats removal is that you don't get that back. So as you get older, your cheeks get more sunken in, and then it just stays like that. So it's like crazy to me. It's like all these things are so normal, and it's so dangerous, because it's like that's how it starts. Mm-hmm. Like I got my boobs done and I was like, I'm good. I don't need to get as much as I would love to like have bigger lips. Or as much as I'd want my ass to look like Kim Kardashian's, I'm like, I'm just not going to spend the money and invest the time in that, because it's just not what I really want. Like I did something for me because it helped with my body dysmorphia and my confidence, just like with my tattoos. It helps cover scars. It helps me feel like a badass, even though I'm a giant wimp. But it's like, we get to the point where it's like, those are the gateway drugs. Mm-hmm. To things. Like I know people who got like one tattoo, and then 2 years later they have face tattoos, neck tattoos, chest, like all the way, and it's like it's beautiful, but it's like that's a lot in a few years. Like I started my shit when I was like 25, so it's like that's like
it took time.
That's 10 years of me making bad decisions. Like you did it all in 3 years.
And then you know what this relates to? Once again, every episode, I blame social media. Social media. Because I'll see everyone with their cute ass lips, and then I'll go to edit the footage of the podcast and be like, oh no.
No, I think it also tabloids was really the big thing, because it was like we used to make fun of women. They were so hard on women. When you go back and you watch interviews of like Lindsay Lohan and Britney Spears, like in the early 2000s, you're like, how did we let men get away with how they treat women? Asking like them talking about like, Britney Spears talking about how she feels a lot of pressure of herself being a young singer, and people like, talk about your boobs. They just want to learn about your boobs.
Well, they would always do that to Dolly Parton back in the day, and Dolly. I act like I know. And Dolly said that
good old Dolly
would say that she would just play into it in like interviews and stuff, because she was just like doing what she had to do. Yeah.
And so it started back then. And then of course, like, yeah, I had bigger hips for a tiny person back then, but that's because all the dudes are making fun of me are looking at all these women who are photoshopped and Playboy and shit with these women don't actually look like this. Mm-hmm. All these perfect bodies you see, they're not all perfect. And I had to very much accept over time, like, I can't change how my fucking hips look, but I can change how my titties look. And getting the boobs made people forget about the hips entirely. It's crazy. I could be missing a hip, and everyone's like, but the titties look great. You know what I mean?
You're just crawling.
But yeah, it is crazy. And I think too, because I went to Body Mod Reddit and have been like looking at all this stuff for the last 24 hours, I'm like, I gotta be very wary of my tattoo decisions when I start having money again.
You have beautiful tattoos.
Thank you.
I think this was this felt like a serious topic. I think because the anxiety, it just going through all of these stories and reading up on it, it just made me feel a certain way.
Honestly, if I could offer any advice to anybody from this episode, is that change your algorithm to where you don't see people.
Yes.
Literally. I think my entire Instagram algorithm is cats and recipes.
Mine is so many gym outfit girls.
Yeah, I had to just, even if I was like, I want to find a new workout, blah, blah, I refuse to go on Instagram because Instagram is so toxic. The internet's so toxic that I was just like, I will just ask my friends, what app do you use for this thing? Blah, blah, blah. Where do you get your gym clothes? I refuse to look at it because my body dysmorphia is intense. I just want to look at cats and recipes. That was the advice I could offer everyone. Just look at cats and recipes. Also, try not to follow too many tattoo artists because that's how you get addicted. Because you're like, oh my God, I want that now.
And if you want to be a cat, be a fucking cat.
Everybody wants to be a cat because the cat's the only cat who knows where it's at. That's a weird lyric.
That is. I haven't heard that in forever.
I love that movie though. So God. But anyways.
But if you so if you want to be a cat, be a cat. But don't let social media force you to buy an ass or to make your lips bigger if you don't want them.
Also, please shit in a toilet. Don't shit in a litter box.
I think if they're going to be a cat, they need to commit.
Yeah, commit to the bit.
But yeah, they can totally pee in a toilet, shit in a toilet. They just have to stand on the toilet like a cat would. Like a trained cat.
And then they have to do this when they're done.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great way to end this episode.
Wow, that was a lot.
No, it was great. And honestly, if you guys have any cool stories with plastic surgery and tattoos or whatever, please feel free to send them to us. Just don't send us pictures of really weird shit because I've seen enough in the last 12 hours.
Yeah, I need a break. Maybe next episode we'll do something more light-hearted,
less traumatic. No more fetishes, kinks, and body modifications.
At least for one episode. This was very interesting. I learned a lot looking into all this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, send your story. We'll talk about it on our Patreon. And thank you guys so much for watching. Because the only cat is the cat.
Who knows where it's at? Everybody stepping on the feline beat because everything else is obsolete. I don't know the lyrics.
All right. That's all we know. Bye.